Haha. Hey, next session is mobile Qt UI. Basically, the offering for doing user interfaces by Qt for mobile platforms. So, let's start here. Native look and feel. You can achieve with QWidgets. So, like you saw me writing that BMI calculator, it looked like a Windows application in Windows, and then it looked like MIMO application in MIMO, and so forth. So the QWidgets try to imitate the native look and feel. Their usage is pretty damn straightforward. I mean, you just create and you don't need to set up any platforms. You just compile and it works, looks native, it's a native platform. You can customize the look and feel a bit. First of all, you can do your own components. You can write your own QWidget that draws itself the way you want it to draw itself. You can use style sheets, or theoretically you can also use QStyles. So with style sheets, you can, for instance, modify colors. Like this, it's kind of like a CSS file for your application style. You can do minor modifications with style sheets file. Actually, the syntax is pretty much like CSS as well. The QWidget also has a set of widget properties you can use. It's quite an extensive list. For instance, you can make the background of the QWidget translucent, which means that it's like showing the other applications underneath the main window. These sorts of things you can modify from the widget properties. Mostly those widget properties are for configuring whether some things are optimized or not. Like how often does this widget require to redraw itself? Or does it every time draw itself completely? Or these sorts of things related to communication between the Windows server and your application. Complete customization is not, however, possible, in the sense that, okay, you can have red buttons if you wish, but doing a user interface that would be completely something different, that's not possible with QWidgets. We have other means for that. Also, this is quite desktop oriented. Honestly said, I think, for instance, lists in QWidgets, they look like Microsoft Excel, even in the phone. It's quite not there yet. I mean, for simple things it is, but it also might have some surprises. And on the other hand, if you take a look on the new Symbian 3 style guides from Nokia's user experience team, it discusses on things that you cannot do with QWidgets, like discrete notifications. That, like when you connect to internet, you will get a small notification in the screen just discreetly saying something. You cannot do that manually with QWidgets. So there are some things missing here. But I mean, okay, for basic stuff, this is completely enough. And also, the look and feel should be rather native in all different platforms. So this adapts. Okay. Something you can do to QWidgets, the animation framework. Animations basically modify properties of items or widgets or objects. What is a property? Basically, okay, this is a code level detail, but basically a property is It's kind of a member variable, but stored in the meta object. And it's accessible through the meta object, and it's again based to just names of things. Here is my object. Wait, where's my laser sword? Here's one object that I just created, derived from QWidget. I have declared that each instance here has a property called text, and the type is QString. If I want to read the value, I will call function with the name text, or someone will. And if I want to modify the value, the function's name is setText. So that's directly a macro that generates now this information to the meta object. Okay, so later I can of course generate my object pointer, and through that pointer I can directly see these functions, text and setText. They are visible because it's a subclass pointer. So I can call my object setText something. Because it's also a property, I do not need a subclass pointer, but I can just using a QObject pointer to the same instance, I can call function setProperty text to some other value. So now again, if this text would not exist, I would not get a compilation error, because that's something done runtime. Okay, this is a pretty stupid use case. I mean, why would someone want to do that? But this is something just describing like what sort of a mechanism there is, and the animation framework takes use of this system. So actually what an animation is a linear interpolation of an object's property from the start value to the end value over a given time duration. Yeah. Okay. So basically an animation has a start value, a certain property like say geometry, which is the absolute position of an item in a screen. The geometry has a start value, the animation for that geometry, start value and an end value. And the animation interpolates all those values in the middle. So the animation framework provides you classes which modify properties over time. This is the one you actually use for doing one single animation. QProperty animation, an animation that modifies a property. An example. Here's a push button, and then there's this piece of code. Now with your person sitting next to you, I was just about to say partner, but that might not be true. I don't know, I don't want to know. So with the person sitting next to you, spend 20 seconds discussing on what this might do. Okay, maybe 30 seconds. And telepathy is not an option. So. What? Yeah. Yeah, but read aloud. Okay, that's enough. How many of you got at least some sort of an idea what this does? Good. Because, I mean, that's like the whole idea here. You can just actually read it aloud. Okay, the animation will start from a certain value. Okay, this was maybe a tricky one. In the middle of the animation, in 50%, it has something else as a value. And then in the end, it's this one. Duration is, by the way, milliseconds. So this is something that lasts 5 seconds. And then we will execute it. Hey, let's do that. I have it here. Exactly the same code, but I'm not starting from 0, 0, because otherwise these things for minimizing and maximizing, they will be hidden to the outer screen. Anim test and run. Okay, now you need to look really quickly. Whoop, yep, there it was. So let's do it again. Now pay attention. Oh, yep. How many got it right? Good. So you don't even need to attend this training, you know, because not bad. So the property animation, this is like one unit of animation. We declare a start value, end value, duration. We can have values in the middle. And we can basically animate anything that's in some way numerical value. But as you see here, I'm animating a rectangle. I don't need to do 4 animations for all those 4 things related to rectangle, but it actually accepts the rectangle as whole. So, excuse me, what is always the same? The interval. Okay, zillions of questions, let's try. Okay. Let's put key value to, well, I mean, just let's remove this and make this, no, make this end value what was here in the key. I don't need a key value. So from start to end and in 5 seconds. Oh, no wonder it was so fast. I have a different version here. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. This was a good move. Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's just doing a linear interpolation between those key values in the middle. I can set an interval. I can call set loop count. I want to do it 2 times, 3 times, or infinite amount of times. This will probably be something sick. Okay, and now, oh, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, a really good question. You didn't have microphone, so I'll repeat it. So what if I have multiple buttons inside a layout manager? Okay, first of all, do not call set geometry for anything. I mean, geometry is hard coding positioning. So this was just for demonstrational purposes. The animations are mainly for other properties than geometry. This is just the easiest one to demonstrate here in front of all of you. But what would happen is that inside Layout Manager, if you had those 2 buttons and they would grow and shrink, it would work just fine. But if you would, for instance, resize the window, at that point the Layout Manager again tries to force those buttons to go where they're supposed to put inside a layout. So what happens is that actually the animation is having turns with the Layout Manager, and you have really weird behavior in your application. Okay, in mobile device you won't be able to do that. Yeah. Hey, yes, you can do that. But so if you press a button, the other ones would be smaller. You can do that, and you can actually make it so that like the layout manager does not break. You wouldn't call set geometry, but you would use minimum size and maximum size that are the properties that the layout manager uses to lay out stuff inside. So that's something you can actually, I mean, this is not an alternative for layout managers. This is definitely something you can also apply things within layout manager. Yeah, I can tweak minimum and a maximum and the layout manager will follow me. Yeah, I've actually done exactly the example you demonstrated, that when I press a button it will grow and the other ones will shrink. Like doing this smooth tactile feedback or like visual tactile feedback or something. Yeah, but it works. It's just a bit more complicated than just modifying geometry. You need to modify a couple of properties. Not a problem, because we do have other classes, and this one over, well, this one over here is also an animation. So there's actually, all of these are animations. This base class has functions like start and stop. And this one is an animation group. So an animation can be a group of animation consisting of other animations. Hey, spot a design pattern here. The composite model, or koostemalli in Finnish, by the way, if you're interested. So an animation can be a group of animation consisting of other animations that can be a group of animations that can be property animations or groups of animations. So, I mean, this is nice. This is not bad at all. Here's a sequential group animation. Two kinds of groups, sequential and parallel. One animation here, which is actually a sequential group animation. 1, 2, 3 animations inside, and the second one is actually a parallel animation group. So there I have created a mixture of animations inside into one big animation. Okay, I think I have something on this one. Whoa, yes I do. I'll first copy paste and then I will explain you what do I actually have here. Because I will need to concentrate on the places where I copy paste. Oh. So what I'm actually doing is that I'm creating another animation, and that animation is for not the button itself, but a graphics effect that I apply for the button. So what I have here, no, just a second, still something more. I need to find this one. Yep. First of all, I have the button here. And this is something rather new, introduced in Qt 4.6. You can create effects for widgets and graphics items as well. So I'm creating a blur effect with radius of 5, so pretty blurry, that is. And the button will use that effect, so it will be a blurred button. If I actually look from the documentation of Qt Graphics blur effect, I wish there would be someone responsible for my IT purchases here. Oh yeah. Or actually, no, this is just the local Qt. Okay, I'm pretty sure my Qt creator is gonna crash now. No, it's not. Okay, back here. QGraphics blur effect. By the way, it was F1 which I pressed. You can also browse through this help tab to get here. And there's list of properties. Whoa, blur radius, QReal. With this new piece of information, we suddenly realize we can create an animation of the amount of blur for the button, and whoa, this is gonna be great. So first animation is moving the button to the center. Second animation is now animating this blur effect and its property blur radius. During 2 seconds, it will go from value 0 back to value 0 through value 5. And this is an infinite loop. And then I have created a Q parallel animation group out of these two. I will add these two animations to this group and call start. Well, let's see. This makes your eyes bleed. This is... I guess you can spot that it's blurring and not unblurring. What happens now is panic. Okay, it did not panic here. I'll retry. It should panic. If I can just close it here. Yeah. This is intentional. The reason is animation group actually acts as a parent for all the animations inside. So it tries to call delete for those objects. And here I was a bit lazy. I allocated these from the stack, and calling delete something in the stack causes you to crash. Okay. Easing curves. This is what makes animations actually fun and what makes it quite nice, quite easy to do nice stuff, small stuff for a UI. What is an easing curve? It's a way to define how do you actually interpolate through some values. By default, you're going linearly. But you can, of course, decide that by setting a certain easing curve that first will go slowly and then will accelerate towards the end. And vice versa in different speeds. And, well, okay. Then you can have these elastic ones that it first goes over, bounces back one. Or, for instance, these outbounds. Let's use it for the first one. Animation set easing curve. Q easing curve. Outbounds. Okay. Yep. It goes there like a ball. Okay. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, nice ringtone. Of course, there's some combinations here, and eventually, I mean, I don't know what is this logical. It's just somehow hovering through the space to the end, but I mean, you can try all sorts of stuff with these. Okay. Yeah. Another example really quickly. What I have here at the moment is an application that has two sliders and a spin box of some kind. And from the upper one, I can drag the values so that this one is following it, and this one at the bottom is following the value. And now it's doing it simultaneously at the same time. Let's do something for this with animations. Here, the slider is following the spin box. The slider is now the one at the bottom, which is following the value of the spin box. The value of spin box is actually following the upper slider. That I have done in the, I can show you. It's here in the designer. These ones are following each other. So the idea is to get this one following whichever of these, because these two uppermost, those are connected. They will always have the same value. So I want this one to follow, but not at the same time. So here, it's following it at the same time. Whenever the value changes, it will immediately go to the same value. So, actually, instead of calling setValue, I will call my own slot function animateSlider. And that one, well, it will get a value. Where is it supposed to go? Where the slider at the down, where is it supposed to go? So I will not set it there immediately, but actually I will create an animation of 1 second that goes to the value from its current position. I don't have a explicitly stated the start value. The start value is the current position. But the end value will be the new value, and it will take a 1 second time to get there. And let's do it out bounds. There's by the way a memory leak here. I need to fix this. Yeah, no longer memory leak. Just a detail. Okay. Like this. And I mean what? 5 lines of code. And let's put it to an 8. This is even more fun in a touch device. Oh, yeah. Just a second. It's up. Yeah. This is, I mean, just little something. Some small things to spice up your QWidget applications. I mean, of course, you can do some, when you press a button, it does a little swirl or something like that. With the animation framework, it's, even I can do it. I mean, that was probably the coolest UI stuff I have ever done. Yes, you can ask. Like, the question was that, can it recalculate it if you like grow widget's size? Can it recalculate on the mouse hovers and so on? Yes, it will follow those. The actual size of that widget will be new if you set the new geometry, and thus everything related to that, like whether mouse hovers or not, those will follow that as well. Yeah, you can do it so that you click and it grows, you move it out and it shrinks, but I mean, yeah, but you need to code. Yeah, I mean, that depends whether you can code it or not. Yeah, you can do it. Okay, but that's a only QWidget. Now let's move on, because the interesting part is just about to begin. So custom UI. In mobile devices, this is rather relevant. QGraphics view is there. This is what you can use now. This is what you would most likely be recommended to use now. So what is graphics view? There's actually a widget called QGraphics view, which in Designer would be this block here. It's a widget that solves contents of two-dimensional custom graphics. So here I could then write code that would show, for instance, a game. However, this graphics view widget can form the whole user interface. It can alone be the whole window. Like in these two examples, I showed you this fluid launcher that had this cover sheet. No, what? Not that one, but this slightly, yeah, cover flow, yeah, but yeah, not cover flow, of course, officially, but yeah, cute cover flow for applications, not for CD covers. That's completely made with QGraphics view. So QGraphics view is actually an architecture of its own. Oh, do I spot beer? It's not beer. Okay. I just got my attention there. Sorry. Yeah, you know, I said I'm Finn, and visiting Germany is like a cultural trip to me. Even without ever exiting the hotel. Okay. So, graphics view is an architecture of its own. Basically what it means is that you have different sets of classes you use in order to produce that custom graphics inside that widget. You basically have their graphical items, individual graphical items that draw themselves and are placed on a QGraphics scene. The scene is a two-dimensional container for those. And then you have the graphics view widget showing contents of the scene. This QGraphics view, this is something that probably requires at least 2 hours of course time to cover in depth, so I'm not even going to try. But instead, in this point, I will promote you. Now everyone's thinking that our courses, but actually Qt Assistant. You can type graphics view here, and you will actually find a full article in the graphics view framework. You can actually find articles on model view programming, multi-threading. Qt is actually a really well documented tool. So, I mean, this one has code snippets, diagrams, links to the API documentation. Graphics view is not a trivial topic to self-study, but you will get a good start from here. And also checking the demonstrations. This is something like de facto thing you can use for making custom graphics. How do you work with graphics view? You code. You derive from QGraphics item in order to create your own graphical items. You write code for painting them with QPainter. You write code for event handling. You write code for animations. You can do nearly anything two-dimensional, but you will code. I mean, some people like coding, like this gentleman over here. But it's really flexible. It's something you can do some serious stuff, but it's not easy to approach. So that's like the only bad side. We have other options. First of all, we can use Qt WebKit in order to do custom UI with web technologies. So the idea is that from WebKit, we will get the class QWebView. This is a widget that solves contents of a web page. You can have Google Maps there, whatever. You can also have an HTML page of your own. that has JavaScript and CSS. You can also write complete. This is now what we discuss here is just doing custom UI. But you can do the whole application with web technologies. You can do hybrid applications so that you would have Qt classes, C++ classes exposed to the JavaScript context here. You can do that with WebKit and actually have JavaScript interoperate with C++ code, and them switching information between these two worlds. And that's again a topic of its own. But talking about custom UI, I will show you a very simple example. Just a second. This is a hybrid application. I have written this with HTML. It's here. That's about as much as HTML I could remember this morning, and I decided to add this. Okay, I will show the details soon, but you had a question. Oh, just a second. Now he's bringing it over.
And what about the performance between web runtime and using Qt and WebKit?
Web runtime is using the S60 WebKit at the moment, and that compared to Qt WebKit at the moment, I do not know what would be the difference. But with Qt WebKit, what happens is actually that it takes some time to load the application to the memory because the WebKit block itself is rather large. So you might have memory problems. Well, not problems, just in mobile devices, you most likely will need to enlarge the heap size so that your WebKit applications have enough heap to use. But on the performance level, I don't know compared on these two. I'm not an expert on WRT, or not even a novice actually, because again, web technologies is. I mean, yeah, this is, yeah, not as good as my slider animation. So how did I do this? It's here. I have one web view. It doesn't have a parent, it becomes a window. It's a widget without a parent, thus becoming a window. I will call load for it. And here I could have whatever web page, but now it's a QRC something. QRC, what's that? A resource. So actually it's an HTML page that was compiled inside this binary. It's here. I have a resource file declaring that my UI.html, this is going to be embedded to this binary. Okay, it doesn't need to be a resource file, but this is how you have only one self-contained binary. Okay. That's basically the idea of WebKit. I mean, not WebKit, but custom UI with WebKit. This is like small part of WebKit itself. Loads of other things related to WebKit. Then there's something called Qt Quick. Who's done something with Qt Quick? Yeah, how do you like it? It's not bad. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's something to play around with, and you know, and please do not now leave to the Qt Quick session. You're already late. But that's a nice technology to play around with. And we'll have a short introduction on that. So, I mean, you'll get best of both worlds. You didn't need to go there. I'm going to tell you anyway. First of all, I'm talking about Qt Quick. And then there's something called QML. So what's the difference between these two? First of all, QWidget comes from Qt User Interface Creation Kit. And this is actually a set of technologies, one of which is QML. So QML is a declarative markup language. It's a completely own language for declaring your user interfaces. You no longer write imperative code that, hey, first we'll create this button here, and then we'll create this one there, and after that we will do a loop that creates this and that. But you declare stuff. You say that, hey, in my user interface, there needs to be a button here, and then there could be another one here, and that value could be that text could be something received from here. You just, like in random order, you define the contents of your user interface. That's something that might first be a bit like frustrating to approach as a programmer, but you'll just have to see it as a set of like drawing operations or something like that. Okay, besides QML, there's the runtime that knows how to read QML files. So with the normal just .qml files, you won't get anywhere. You can check those out in QML viewer, but they are not real applications. You will need a Qt application that loads that file, just like I had with WebKit. And for that one, you need the Qt Declarative module. This is a C++ API, a new set of classes meant for loading and communicating with things defined in QML files. Okay, enough of talk, let's just go here. So the first sneak peek of QML is here. So what I have here is basically one QML file, and each QML file defines one item, one root item. Here it's rectangle. And that rectangle has properties. All these items or QML elements have properties. So this one here is an element. And because it's a visual element, it's actually an item. There's a small class hierarchy behind, but we don't need to worry about it. We are not actually deriving from any classes and so on. We're just declaring stuff. So this is an element, and all elements have a set of properties. And you can find from the QWidget documentation that, hey, an element called rectangle has properties width, height, and color. So on the left-hand side, we say what is the name of the property we're declaring. And the right-hand side is actually a code block of JavaScript. Okay, here it's just the value. Usually it's the value. But this one here, this is JavaScript. The JavaScript engine in Qt WebKit will actually interpret that piece of JavaScript, which then becomes a value, 200 by the way. What sort of elements do we have in use? Well, rectangle, image, text, mouse area, and so on. Okay, this one only has one rectangle. Normally we have a tree of elements. So we have one root node, which could be a rectangle, and that one would be like a parent to a text element and an image element and possibly others. Okay, I'll show you. I'll create a new QML application. This is a bit false term. It is not a QML application. in the sense that, well, let's call these traffic lights. I mean, this is just creating the QML file. I can view this QML file. If I press play, no, not. I will press play. It will actually open QML viewer to show the contents, which are here. QML viewer is an application you can start by its own, and you can open QML files. But this QML file is not in any way any sort of an end product you could put to an Ovi Store. This is something that the QDeclarative module can load. Okay, this is what the wizard created me. So, let's wipe this off. Rectangle, size 360, 640. Inside that, the colors will be black. Okay, let's try. I don't need to compile. This is not compiled, this is runtime stuff. Okay, what's next? Okay, I'm obviously doing traffic lights, so I would probably need a column of rectangles. I'm gonna be a bit lazy and only do traffic lights which have two, the red and green one. Okay, these are gonna be, let's say, 200 times 200, and the color of this will be reddish up. Ooh. Width 200, height 200, and color of this is green. Yep. Oh, not quite there yet. Maybe I'll need to adjust radius. And like I said, this is JavaScript, so I can actually put executable code here. I will show you another example quite soon. And yep. And then I can use different sorts of layouts. First of all, this column itself, that's a layout manager, obviously a column. But I would want to anchor this into its parent. The parent of this is now the rectangle. I'm centering it here. Okay, maybe some spacing as well. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so I can draw stuff here. But I mean, I'm just drawing things. These are not real applications. I mean, I do admit this is visually really superior, but it's missing the user interaction. Unlike in Qt, I do not have user interaction components. I don't have line edit. I don't have a button or a slider in Qt Quick. I have rectangles, text, and images and rectangles, and I mean, sort of like more primitive drawing components. But what I do have is mouse areas. So basically that user interaction has been taken away from those drawing primitives. Okay, I'll actually, in the slides I have a piece of code I will show you quickly soon that is actually demonstrating how to create a button with Qt Quick. You can do your own components. Well, what is a button? It's a rectangle with a text and a mouse area. So here I can also add a mouse area. Let's say inside this rectangle there's a mouse area, and for that one I need to define the size. It is not automatically the same size as the parent. I can again use the anchors, and when this mouse area is clicked, I will change the color of my parent to be yellow. Oh, something wrong. Yeah, here. Ha. Now this This was the example I wanted to show you. So what is here is a code block of JavaScript. And in JavaScript, I, of course, assign with the assign operator. Like that. Yep. It works. And, well, okay, it's still changing it to be yellow. Okay, quite a poor traffic light simulator yet. Let's add some more stuff. I would not need a state machine here, but for demonstrational purposes, I'm doing one. So actually, the UI can have state machines. This one has 2 states. Green on. And what would the other be? Any guesses? Correct. Stop. No, just kidding. No. No, they are not supposed to be nested. That's here. So I have an array of states which are here. Green on and red on. The states are actually state consists of things that change when we go to the state. Okay. Let's say here I will remove the color statements from here and say that what I'm missing is an ID. I can put IDs for these different pieces so that I can bind stuff to those elsewhere. So this one shall be called red light. Let's call it just red light. And this one shall be called green light. And here I can say that red light shall have color black in this state. And green light will have color green. And then copy the same thing vice versa. This is red and this is black. Yeah. Okay. So this is just a state machine. What I also need, this is not in the correct position now. Oh, it's missing this one here. What I also need to say is, what is the state we are at this moment? That is done with the property state. Hey, now we are on green on. Yep, we are. Now we are on red on. Yeah. Okay, then maybe some kind of a logic for changing this. Well, let's leave this here so that it will start from green on. Maybe a good logic would be timer. By the way, I can of course check their documentation with the same thing. With Qt 4.7, all these QML elements are documented as well. So, okay, time to pour some water. Okay, timer and interval shall be 1 second. And when it's triggered, I will do piece of code. Okay, it's JavaScript. If parent state is green on, I will say that parent's new state will be red on. Else, parent state will be green on. All right, let's try. Oh. Let's start the timer. Here. And then we need to fix something. Oh. There is an else here, but yeah. Yeah. It's not, let's check it here. Repeat, true. Yes. Yes, I made it. Okay. So that was like a really, I mean, I'm not expecting that you could follow me and now do the same thing, but I mean, this is pretty straightforward. It's really easy to work with this when it comes to making stuff like simple as this. But actually, if you're doing like realistic user interfaces, you will need some sort of a user interaction components. And okay, here's one example, the button. Quite lousy button, but anyway, a working one. We have a rectangle, and inside the rectangle we have text and a mouse area. And actually it will work so that if you click the button, it will change its color. Here's the code. You can check it later. So how do you create components in Qt Quick? Well, I just did, because the name of the file is mybutton.qml. Now I have a component called mybutton. So in another file, which here is called main.qml, you don't need any main function, but it's just named like a main function. Here I will have a rectangle inside which I have a column and two buttons with text 1, text 2, and color blue. They're here. And there's my component, yes.
What is the, I mean, if you compare QML with, like, what you said, QWidget, I think all this coding you could do less with only JavaScript and HTML. So what's really the purpose of these?
Okay, so a nice question, because I mean my next slide is, yeah, this is boring. What else? So I mean all of this, you can do with web technologies, right? Yeah, and JavaScript, but I'll show you something. Here's an application I'm going to demonstrate you next. I did this myself in exactly 35 minutes. And that one included, this is 5800. It has 4.7. I installed 4.7 here. I don't have 4.7 in, oh yeah, not direct touch. I don't have 4.7 in my N8, so I'm demonstrating this with them. So CD covers. So I can open and, hey, that's by the way, my button component is this one here. Oh, sticky fingers. Go away. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do this with JavaScript, at least in 35 minutes. You can do also stuff that is a bit more really easily. And another application we have, this is like a real application, not done by me. This is called Float. It's a social media application which is location based. So quite similar to Foursquare. So it will tell me where I am, and connection unavailable. Oh yeah, this room, by the way, does not seem to have lots of field. Like, I mean, I don't think my phone is, it has no, I mean, what? How are German houses built? It's like, do you have cellular field? Okay, now I have one block. Let's try. Maybe the 3G is really fast. I will need to restart the application. Okay, now I have 2 plugs. Oh, only one anymore. It might take a while with 1 plug. You can actually go to float.com and download this, but the idea is that there are some friends of mine here, and I can see nearby places. Okay, it's probably not getting a GPS fix here either. So, but anyway, let's stick with the UI here. This is done with QML, and actually in N8 we have GPU. This is now hardware accelerated, and the UI is completely done with QML. This is pretty nice. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the nearby places. There's actually this event itself is here. Well, I created that there. So this is what you can do with QML. Okay. However, what's a bit problematic with QML is that you don't have, first of all, you don't have the components. Okay, you can create the components, not a problem. But you don't have a UI framework. You don't have such concept as a view. You need to create your own UI framework. And that's still something that's, I think, is under development. At some point there will be QML components, there will be ready-made components. But I don't know whether they will have any sort of a UI framework that you could easily use to deploy your complete user interfaces with multiple views. Now all that needs to be like manually written. Okay. So this float application, for instance, this is using C++ a lot. It's using the mobility APIs. All the logic is written with C++. Only the UI side is with QML. And normally that's how you do it. You can write some logic in the QML, but for instance, QML side provides you view classes. You can use like I had in the CD list, this one here. This one actually uses a path view. I have grid view, list view, and then a path view here. It's quite darkish over there, but I have manually created a path through which these go. And I could use a C++ Qt data model to get the information here. So these classes are designed to interact with C++. You can expose objects from the C++ side so that from the QML you can call slot functions, for instance, for those C++ objects. Well, the same thing is with WebKit. You can as well expose C++ objects that get called from JavaScript. And I mean, this is also using JavaScript. So in the sense, these are like parallel technologies. Okay. Hybrid between normal Qt and Qt Quick. Yes. Again, these Qt demos and examples, these are... What? Why is it going... This one. You have demonstrations on QML as well, like the same game. Here I have actually, I think this is a QWidget. Or then it's a graphics view that launches this QML. The QML file itself has this part, I think so. but you can check. I think there's both QML UI components, and then there's another one that says declarative somewhere. QDeclarative examples. Let's see if any of these have. I think maybe this one has. Oh, it's just, yeah. Okay. But anyway, you can do that. And I don't have an example of that, but I can show you on WebKit. There's a similar idea here. WebKit has the form extractor. Here actually only part of the UI is made using QML. No, not QML. Here it's WebKit and HTML. This part here is an HTML form. There's a web view showing that HTML. I can write stuff here, and when I click submit, what actually happens is a C++ slot function gets called. That slot function examines the DOM tree created out of this HTML page, fetches the values and stores those values into QWidgets here. This is a really good example if you want to use WebKit and hybrid applications. Check this out. Okay, you actually have CD cover view in the memory stick. It's here written. I'm not going to go through it, but I'm going to show you CD list, which is the actual application. This CD project I have here, this is just when I launch this, it will launch QML viewer to show it. But this is not the real Qt application. But instead, I have created another application here, which is a Qt project. And that Qt project is now using Declarative. And there, this is what I need to write. Just like with WebKit. By simplest, I have QDeclarative view showing contents of something, and that something can be inside a resource. And that's it. 4 lines of code, and 3 of these you would have nearly same in every application. So this is by the minimum, the C++ side you will need to write to your Qt Quick applications. But you will need at least this part. Okay. Then on the actual offering side. Qt Quick in mobile devices. I had it here. I can go to qt.nokia.com and download Qt 4.7 libraries for Symbian. And with that, I will get a sys package that I can install here, and now I have 4.7 here. After that, well, the installer will also install Qt 4.7 for my Symbian SDK, but I will need a Symbian SDK to do that. With Nokia Qt SDK, you can't get 4.7 yet. Why? Because Ovi Store does not support it. I mean, a new version of Qt is released when it's technologically ready. When technology for Qt 4.7 is ready, it's finished. But it doesn't mean that you could have applications in the Ovi Store for that Qt 4.7 immediately. They are actually testing all of those devices for which they say that this technology will work. And that will take some time. So it will take some time before Qt 4.7 goes to applications for Ovi Store. And that's why Nokia Qt SDK does not support that either. Because they don't want people to link their applications against Qt 4.7, even if they do not really use 4.7. Or especially if they would use 4.7. So actually, the Smart Installer component will check what was the version of Qt libraries you used for compilation. And you should always use the minimum version which you can, which here will probably be Qt 4.6.3. Even later, when 4.7 is available for Ovi Store, even then, if you're not using Qt Quick, you should compile for 4.6. Two reasons. First of all, why would you want the end user to download Qt 4.7 if he does not need it, if he already has 4.6 there? Secondly, they told me that they're not going to support Qt 4.7 in the older devices, like non-touch old Symbian devices. If your application is not using Qt Quick and you want to reach those old devices as well, if you would compile using 4.7, it would rule out those old devices for Wayne. So, rule of thumb, first of all, always use for like commercial applications or distributable applications, always use the Qt version in Nokia Qt SDK. And if possible, use the oldest version there. It's pretty simple. But you can try it. How can you do it like I just did? I mean, this is now Qt Quick for mobile device. That's like a technology preview. You can already play around with it. You can do real applications like this float. It's done with QML. It's a real application and it works. So you can install Qt.7 for your Symbian SDK. I can use the same Qt creator to build those programs. It will understand that I have different versions of Qt. It's not a problem at all. Okay. With N8, there's a slight feature here as well. In the N8, you can't install Qt 4.7 just like that, because the Qt libraries are on ROM, and you're not allowed to override that with just downloading a package and installing that. But actually Qt 4.7 is going to be available to N8 through software updates. So it will update your phone and actually flash your phone with Qt 4.7. The only downside here is that there's no rollback. You can't go back anymore to 4.6. I have not flashed my device, but I'm using a secret cheat code here. I have two Qts inside. The other one is called normal qtcore.dll, and then the other one is qtcorefloat.dll. So I have two versions of Qt inside. The second one is so-called an infix build. So I have DLLs with different names in the phone as well. But I mean, that's a real workaround. You can't, well, then your distribution packages would be megabytes again. Okay. No, Ovi Store won't accept it. I haven't even bothered asking them. I haven't done it, by the way. Okay, so this is how you can use custom look and feel now.
The Ovi Store accept Qt 4.6 on top of an SDK rather than using the SDK.
So, excuse me, Ovi Store accepts Qt 4.63 now, yeah, and does not yet accept 4.7. But at some point 4.7, or actually 4.7.1, that will be then supported by Ovi Store as well. So what this means in practice is that Qt Quick is something you can start playing around, but you can put Ovi Store applications to Ovi Store. I think at the end of at the beginning of next year. I don't know. I don't work for them. I cannot make such promises. That's what I've been told, that around somewhere in the beginning of next year, Ovi Store would support Qt Quick. No, I basically I did not need from the SDK. Okay, I had separate Symbian SDKs so that I could switch between, because each of those SDKs basically I have different set of Qt libraries there, and these old 5th edition SDKs which I use for this, for instance, those have now 4.7. So if I compile using those SDKs, it will use 4.7. But if I want to build for the N8, it will go through the Nokia Qt official SDK, which is 4.6.3. Okay. This is not the end yet. As you see, there is some intentional white space on top of these. So, what's happening next? That's Conan, by the way. In Symbian 4 and in MeeGo, there are going to be new user interface frameworks or user experience framework called UIEMO, which is UI extensions for mobile, and MeeGo Touch, which is MeeGo Touch. And both of these, just like Qt Quick, are built on top of Qt Graphics View. So the MeeGo Touch and UIEMO are actually just a set of widgets. They're new set of new classes and a framework that is built on top of Qt Graphics View. So you will have your new set of similar kind of widgets like line edits, buttons, and so on. But instead of being actual QWidgets, when you use those, you will actually get graphics items generated into a Qt Graphics View. Actually, when you're working with these two, you don't even have to know that you're working on top of Qt Graphics View. You just have a new set of widgets to use. And the purpose of these would be to renew the whole native look and feel. But this is not happening yet. This is something that, I mean, like Andreas said, there's always going to be a new version. So this is going to be the new version. But anyway, it's going to be built on Qt Graphics View like Qt Quick. So altogether, the graphics view here seems to be like the key to everything. And someone's told me that probably if they were to Qt now again from the scratch, they would start with Qt Graphics View. It's just, that's in pretty good shape now. And also, what? Ah. Oh, stupid me. This is a different slide. There's Qt Quick Components is also something that's coming. Well, you saw me doing one Qt Quick component or slide of that, the button. So there's gonna be a set of components distributed for you to use if you want to use Qt Quick. And apparently those components will then try to imitate the native look and feel of MeeGo Touch and so on. So, but Qt's not going anywhere. The engine side has the same APIs. That's not gonna happen. I mean, well, no changes are gonna happen there, except for new addition. Yes, the question.
I mean, if the goal of Qt is actually coding once and deploying everywhere, what's the point of having two different frameworks for deploying on MeeGo and on Symbian?
different user experience.
Yeah, but
For
the point
different
is,
devices. The Migo Touch is not only for handsets, it's like mobile computers, for instance, in-vehicle devices and so on.
okay, but the point is, if I want to create my application with QWidgets, for example, you showed now that you can actually deploy your application on the desktop and have the Windows native look and feel, and deploy the application on Symbian and have the native look and feel. So, for me as a developer, why should I use Migo Touch instead of a QWidget if I can get the same things?
Well, first of all, QWidgets do work. I mean, this is not in chronological order. QWidgets do work, and if they suit your purposes, use those. Why you would want to use these is that they'll probably offer more like parameterizable, more flexible ways of doing user experience for those particular devices only in mind. If you're doing cross-platform applications, then probably these are not the ones you're supposed to use because first of all, they're not cross-platform. And secondly, if you want to have like a cross-platform look and feel, then either it's QWidgets or if it's custom, then just do it with QGraphics View or with QQuick.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, a question here. By the way, 2 minutes.
Maybe it's a special, but is the Qt framework following the rules of the Symbian platform so that maybe a screen reader can read the contents of the screen?
Excuse me?
So on Symbian, every graphic user interface, like a button or something like that, has some special methods that every button has to have. And does Qt button has the same methods? So maybe an extension program like a screen reader for blind can read the content of the button?
I don't think it's following that sort of rules. The Symbian, the Avcon framework, that's like, it has completely different UI concepts than Qt.
So the Qt doesn't build the component tree like Avcon does?
Underneath it actually does, but I am not sure how this sort of that you would have something that works with Avcon, like read stuff from Avcon elements, that it would read the same stuff from QWidget. I don't think it's that much one-to-one. But okay, at this point, well, I'm not sure if it's any more there. Is Avcon still there? But Avcon is going to be removed completely. But Acon is going to be there still, so same kind of an idea. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay. Okay, let's have coffee break with snacks this time.
Sorry?